yeah. Is it Tuesday already? Have we made it through yet another? Actually, I guess that would have been Saturday. Oh, is it Tuesday already? Last weekend was Fan Expo Boston, and Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor were both there talking about Star Wars, a Clone Wars live action show, a Darth Vader show. Oh my goodness. And we got to talk about Gina Carano coming back. Hang on, I got to sneeze, chat. Hang on. False alarm. False alarm. Okay. So, yes, we didn't have a stream on Saturday, but we're going to make up for it today because we got an extra long stream today because we got a ton of news to get to. So, without further ado, let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon? Oh, yeah, we are back. I know we didn't have a live stream on Saturday. We went on vacation, okay? But we're back. And better than ever, because we got to talk about what Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, Darth Vader series, live-action Clone Wars, and Gina Carano possibly coming back as Cara Dune in The Mandalorian and Grogu movie, or at least in the Mandoverse at any point. We got a lot to get into and not a lot of time. So without further ado, I'm pretty sure nobody guessed it in the chat, the shirt today. I'll double check, but I don't think anybody got it. And yeah, so without further ado, let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? Let's start off the stream the right way by saying hi to everybody in the chat. Derek, what's up, Derek? How we doing? Derek, what's up? WV Grad in the house. Greg, how we doing? Rachel, what is up? Brandon Baker in the house. Matt, how we doing? Greg, what is up? Ian, how we doing? Holly in the building. Carry on. What is up? Fearless, what's up? Brandon Baker in the house, if I didn't already say that. Rachel, what is up? Mike, how we doing? All right, you know the deal. Darth Plagueis lives, what's up? If I missed you, just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little...
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so, you know, I'm excited. We got a lot of news to talk about. I feel like this weekend gave us a shit ton of news, and we didn't have a live stream on Saturday, and we didn't get to talk about it, so we got a lot to talk about today. It's going to be a crazy Tuesday. A crazy Tuesday. And I see that somebody already guessed or already saw the Easter egg today. It was kind of an easy one. I'll give you that. It was kind of an easy one. Yeah. But who saw it first is the real question. Who saw it first, chat? I don't know who saw it first. Who caught this first? Was it WV Grad? I think it was. He said Holocron. I think it was. Yep. All right, WV Grad, you got 1,000 credits. Okay. Yep. You gotta be first. You gotta be quicker than that. Gina from Tahini, what's up? How's vacation? It was awesome. It was awesome. Nothing better than sitting on a beach and, you know, just baking in the sun. The water was freezing cold, but that's what are you gonna do about that, you know? What are you gonna do about that? Okay, but let's talk about the big news that happened over this weekend. Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, just giving the fans what we want. Giving the fans what we want. There was a little bit of time there where we thought that Ewan McGregor said that he was going to be in Ahsoka Season 2 as Obi-Wan, like confirmed it by accident. But that was a misquote. That's what it turned out to be. But it does beg the question of whether or not he'll be in Ahsoka Season 2, which we'll dive into in a second. We'll get into it. But let's start there, I guess. Let's start with Ewan McGregor. Let's start with Ahsoka Season 2. And let's start there, okay? So Ewan McGregor sort of blows up the internet with the accidental fake reveal? I don't even know what to call it. An accidental reveal that he's going to be in Ahsoka Season 2 that wasn't really real. But we've been talking about this for over 6 months now because the rumors have been that he will be in the Clone Wars armor in Ahsoka Season 2, right alongside Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker and Ariana Greenblatt, who played young Ahsoka Tano in Season 1 of Ahsoka. So first things first, let's start up with a poll. Let's start it with a poll. Okay. Did the screen go black again? I don't know what's up with that. I don't know what's up with that. So, do you think Obi-Wan will be in Ahsoka Season 2? Yes or no? Do you think Obi-Wan Kenobi will be in Ahsoka Season 2? Now, even though these reports have been claimed to be false, and he didn't actually say that, this has still been the reports for months now, that he will be there right alongside Hayden Christensen, right alongside Ariana Greenblatt in some sort of Clone Wars flashbacks. We predict it's going to be something related to the Mortis gods because we know that Baylan Skoll is standing on top of a Mortis god statue, pointing out into the distance at possibly Abeloth in a prison created by the Mortis gods. And for the normie fans, the Mortis gods will have to be explained because in the Clone Wars, Anakin, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, they go to Mortis, they meet the gods, they kill the gods, or they all kill each other, sort of. They all die, and then they come back home. And I thought for a long time that their minds were wiped, but that's not the case. Only Anakin's mind was wiped just for a period of time. They remember all that happened on Mortis. So I think the Ahsoka series is going to explain the Mortis gods using a flashback to give us Ewan, to give us Hayden, to give us the Clone Wars in live action. So tell me in the chat, do you think even after it was proven false that Ewan was lying, or Ewan never actually said that in the first place, do you think that Obi-Wan Kenobi will be in Ahsoka Season 2? Now, here is the updated report. So here's what's actually going on, okay? Take a look at this. Update number 2. Ewan McGregor did not say that he'll be in Ahsoka Season 2. But we, of course, know that means absolutely nothing nowadays because actors lie constantly. But here's the confusion. Here's where this all went wrong. Update number 2. Since our first update on this story, Lucasfilm did get back to us and clarify that Ewan McGregor, it is still all a misunderstanding. Moreover, Collider has since published the actual quote from Ewan McGregor where he said this. Well, I like watching my wife, so I really enjoyed Ahsoka, Season 1, that is. Because if you don't know, his wife, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, is actually Hera Syndulla. Obi-Wan and Hera Syndulla, married in real life. I thought it was brilliantly done. It's so funny, she's shooting the second season now, and I know, wait, is that a secret? So it was almost like he was misquoted by saying, shooting the second season right now, is that a secret? Should I not have said that type deal? And people took that and ran with it because they were like, okay, he's in Ahsoka Season 2. There's no video evidence of this. We can just completely lie. And that's what happened. A couple hours later, the real news came out that he did not say this. And this was the real quote of the day. So he's talking about his wife being involved in Ahsoka Season 2. So pretty much how I see this is Ewan McGregor is sitting there on the sidelines going, please put me in, coach. Hey, coach, put me in. I'm ready to play. When his wife, his good pal Hayden, and all his friends are playing. They're all in Ahsoka. They're all having a blast. They're all doing fun things without him. And it's time to give Ewan the fun chance to join the crew, join his wife, join his friends, join Hayden in the cast of Ahsoka Season 2. Why does that keep turning off, chat? It's really annoying. Hopefully that's the last time. But tell me in the chat, what do you think the chances are that we see Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi in his Clone Wars armor in Ahsoka Season 2? What do we think? What do we think, chat? Oh, by the way, we got a new cup today. Testing something out today, chat. Testing something out. Check this thing out. Oh, wait, what the hell? What is going on, chat? Aha, there we go. Check this thing out. Focus on the mug. Not me. Focus on the mug. Does anybody know what this says? Chat? My arm is getting tired. Anybody know what this? My arm is. This is really heavy. It's full of water. Chat. Can somebody please read it quickly? Ah, my arm. Ah! Chat. Chat. All right, I'm putting it down. Ugh. That was an arm workout right there. Holy crap. Yes, it's Anakin and Obi-Wan's conversation on Mustafar. Here, I'll use my left hand this time. It's I have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire. Your new empire. You know, don't make me kill you. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. Where were we? That was the update. Ewan McGregor was misquoted, and people lost their minds. And this was the clear up of all of that. Now, what I think is going on here is that they're going to keep, if this is the truth, they're going to keep Ewan McGregor's involvement with Ahsoka Season 2 a secret until it happens. Much like they tried to do with Anakin in Season 1. Like, they didn't tell us that Anakin was coming in Ahsoka Season 1. It was sort of leaked out there, but we didn't know if it was true or not. There was rumors that they were going to fight on Mustafar, but we didn't know for sure. That's sort of the same thing that's going on here. It's already been confirmed that Hayden Christensen will be in Ahsoka Season 2. We know that for a fact. We don't know if Ewan will be involved or if Ariana Greenblatt will be involved. They'll leave that until it releases. So it's kind of up to us, as the people who love Star Wars, to figure out what's really going on here. Will Ewan actually be in the second 10%? Yes. I feel as though, well, the reports that we got from months and months ago I thought were true, but now it just adds more onto this. Like, his wife is in the show. You know? Let's make this a whole family affair and bring in Ewan too. You know? Seems pretty easy to me. Yeah. Hang on, we got a super chat. Hang on, chat. We got a super chat. First super chat back from vacation. Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $10 holla. God damn, that's how you start off a live stream. Welcome back. How was vacay? It was pretty awesome. It definitely was pretty cool. I mean, a little short, but, you know, happy to be back. Also, need Ewan and Hayden back in their Clone Wars armor. Well, that's the dream. This right here is the dream. You can see it on the thumbnail of this video, and you can see it right here. This is the dream. Who does it? Give me a 1 into the chat if you want to see this on screen. Give me a 2 if you're like, no, I hate great things and I don't want to ever see this. 1 is yes, 2 is no. What do you think, chat? If you're saying 2, you might want to rethink your life. I mean, we got to see Anakin, of course, in his Clone Wars armor. We got to see that in Ahsoka Season 1 through the World Between Worlds sequence where we got to go back to the Siege of Mandalore and what the hell is Teth? It's Teth too. Yeah. Exactly. That's a lot of ones. I mean, who doesn't want to see this? You know? I really hope that we can take physical form. One more mission for the 3 of them. Well, we're going to talk about an actual live-action Clone Wars thing in a second, because Hayden Christensen did talk about that. And I am very much against that, as you guys know. I don't want that at all. However, I do want this. And now that may sound very contradicting. I don't want a live-action Clone Wars, but I do want a live-action Clone Wars. There's a difference, okay? There's a difference. This would be Ahsoka Season 2. This would be a purposeful flashback to explain the Mortis gods. That's one thing. To just give us live-action Clone Wars remakes of what already happened in a different show called Live-Action Clone Wars or whatever, that is a no for me. That like a hard no. Like, please do not do that. You can do this. You can do what you did in Ahsoka season 1 or various aspects of that, but not an entire remake of the Clone Wars just for live action's sake. It just sounds dumb to me. Yeah. Watch Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. I don't need more. I'm good. Well, in neither of those movies do they wear this armor. But, yeah. You want to go home and rethink your life. You want to buy some death sticks? Okay. I want Ahsoka Season 2 to focus on the present and not have too many flashbacks. Well, Mataween, and great name, I agree with you. I think there's only going to be like 1 or 2 flashbacks to explain the Mortis gods. That's where Ewan will show up. That's where Hayden will show up. That's where Ariana Greenblatt will show up. And that's it. Like, it's not going to be this huge flashback fest where there's 40 plus minutes of flashbacks for an episode. No, it's just going to be an explanation for the Mortis gods. You get this, which will please everybody. Who doesn't want to see that? And then it will be just all the rest of the story. All you have to do, all you have to accomplish by showing this is explaining the Mortis gods, which is a very, very, very difficult thing to explain to somebody who isn't as crazy of a Star Wars fan as ourselves, as us people who are currently here, sitting here, talking about Star Wars at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon, because we're crazy! You have to explain the Mortis gods to the normie fans and have it make sense. And there's no real way to do that without giving us this. At least, I don't think so. So the same way that Ahsoka Season 1 only had 20 minutes of flashbacks, and they weren't even flashbacks, let's be honest. They were just a lesson from Anakin of Through the World Between Worlds. And the flashbacks themselves weren't even of specific events, or they were of specific events, but they were altered by this training lesson in the World Between Worlds. So there won't be episodes on episodes of flashbacks. It will mostly take place in the future. Yeah. Clone Wars has been done. No need to do it for live action. Exactly. You don't need to redo something just to make it live action. Because yes, it would be great to see live action Clone Wars stuff, but you can do that in other ways. You don't have to have an entire show dedicated to live action versions of stuff that's already happened. You know? Yeah, no? It will be like episode 5's flashbacks. Yes, but no, because that's the World Between Worlds. And I really, really hope we don't see the World Between Worlds in Ahsoka Season 2. I really hope so. I mean, I really hope not. Yeah. Yeah, I really hope not. But with that being said, tell me in the chat, do you want to see this in Ahsoka Season 2? Will Ewan McGregor be casted as Obi-Wan for Ahsoka Season 2? And will we finally get to see this? Yes or no? Tell me in the chat. And let's talk about the live-action Clone Wars stuff. Yeah. So this is what Hayden Christensen had to say about it. Hayden Christensen wants to do a Star Wars project in the Clone Wars era. So this happened at Fan Expo Boston, which, by the way, I was going to go to this, but I went on vacation instead. I really wanted to go see Ewan, see Hayden. It would have been awesome. I would have been at the ground floor, but I went on vacation instead. But here's what Hayden had to say. I think there are some fun stories there to tell. And if it meant that I got to swing a lightsaber with Ewan McGregor again, that would be amazing. Now, don't get me wrong, chat. I would love to see these two swinging lightsabers again. Whether that be a Kenobi Season 2 or Ahsoka Season 2 or whatever Season 2. But I do not want it to be a Clone Wars remake. Absolutely not. However, I do think I am in the minority here, so I'm going to pull it up. By the way, almost 80% of you say yes. You do think that Ewan McGregor will be in Ahsoka season 2. So here's the deal, chat. All this nonsense of, is he going to be in it? Is he not going to be in it? Did Ewan McGregor say this? Did Ewan McGregor say that? It doesn't matter. There goes my Easter egg. It doesn't matter, okay? We all know that he's coming in season 2. That it has to happen. It's meant to be. I hope that's not broken. Whatever. Okay. So, with that being said, let's put up this poll. Do you want a live action Clone Wars show? Yes or no? Yes or no? Another Mike who loves Star Wars. What's up? Mike. What's up?
Hello there.
Okay. You tell me in the chat. They teased the Mortis gods with the statues. That was flare shot up? What? That was flare shot up. I don't know what that means. People who watch the Mortis God arc on Disney Plus. It's not like they don't have Disney Plus. That's where they're watching Ahsoka on. True. But the problem is the Clone Wars, the Mortis arc in the Clone Wars is animated. And for some reason, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, people see animated and immediately think children's cartoon. Immediately. I'm not watching that. It's made for children. And that's a pretty bad way to look at it because you're missing out on some of the greatest Star Wars content to ever exist in animation. But you watch the Clone Wars and you're like, there's no way this is made for kids. I will give you guys a great update, actually. Me and Sam are still on our track to watch all the Star Wars content up until The Mandalorian Season 3 before The Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out. And, well, I guess all the way up until Ahsoka or Skeleton Crew. Whatever it is. All the way up until the end before The Mandalorian and Grogu movie. And we watched a ton of Clone Wars this weekend. The entire Umbara arc, which was great. The entire arc right after that, which was like the slave arc with the Zygarians, which is also great. But you watch those two arcs back to back. This very serious story about slavery and these people being thrown off these floating buildings and to their death and dying and all that craziness. And then you have Pong Krell, who's like the worst guy ever, making the clones kill each other. It's not made for kids. It's just not. Sorry. I got a little excited. Got a little bit excited. It's not made for kids. So if you're sitting there watching this live stream for some reason and you go, I'm not watching Clone Wars, I'm not watching Rebels, I'm not watching Bad Batch, I'm not watching any of this because it's animated, look in the mirror and say, I'm an idiot. I'm missing out on some of the greatest content that's ever been given in the galaxy far, far away because I can't get past the fact that it's not live action. Yeah. I think I made my point.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah. Is that just the same one going over and over again? Okay. Sounds good. So with that being said, tell me in the chat, do you want a live-action Clone Wars series? Yes or no? And by the way, this poll is almost 50-50 right now. 53% say no, 47% say yes. Interesting. We'll leave that poll up there for a little bit. We'll leave it up there. We'll leave it up. But this, again, is what Hayden Christensen had to say. I think there's some fun stories there to tell. 7 seasons. 7 seasons of the Clone Wars show already exists. Are there other stories to tell? Maybe. But you can't do a season 8. That's literally impossible. Season 7 ends with Order 66. The Empire has risen to power. There is no more Clone Wars. It's over. So it'd have to be a live-action retelling of a story that already exists, or a random arc in the middle of the Clone Wars, which would be unbelievably confusing for the majority of the audience. So what do we think? Did anybody go to Fan Expo Boston, chat? I almost went. Maybe next year. Yeah. But tell me in the chat. This also brings up the point that Hayden Christensen had a lot to say this weekend. And one of the other things he had to talk about was returning to Star Wars after Ahsoka Season 2. So as we mentioned before, it's already been confirmed that Hayden will be in Ahsoka Season 2. That was confirmed at Star Wars Celebration all the way back in April. But a continuation of the character of Vader or Anakin in some capacity beyond Ahsoka Season 2 is now in the talks. Could we get a Vader series? Could we get Kenobi Season 2 with Vader's involvement? Could we get some sort of story revolving around Anakin on Disney+? Well, here's what Hayden Christensen had to say about that. Take a look. Hayden Christensen addresses Star Wars return after Ahsoka Season 2. As Hayden Christensen prepares for his return in Ahsoka Season 2, he is considering another return to Star Wars. After playing Anakin Skywalker in the prequel trilogy from 2002 to 2005, Christensen reappeared on screen in Ahsoka Season 1 and the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Haunting, not hunting, his Padawan from beyond the grave. And he is set to reappear in the next season. Having been involved with Star Wars for over 20 years, Hayden Christensen has become a critical star of the franchise. I mean, a lot of this has to do with the fact that he got so much hate for so long from critics and fans alike, whether because of his performance or whatever it may be. Those prequel movies got a lot of shit when they came out. Now, 20 years later, it's crazy to see the complete 180 that so many people have taken on this guy, because he's completely beloved in the Star Wars fandom. I was way too young to even notice that he was getting crapped on, but still, it's so great to see. And now we're talking about getting even more of him. I mean, come on. I'd like to suggest a live-action Clone Wars should be based on some other stories. I think that many people don't want to rehash just the same and make it live action. Yes. But even doing other stories in the Clone Wars doesn't really make me excited. Because what are you going to do? What would be a huge story arc during the time of the Clone Wars that would warrant making a actual live action Clone Wars series? Mike, what's your watch list party? Or wait, what's your list watch party up until the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? Well, we got to watch everything. Because Samantha has seen all the movies, of course, but she hasn't seen a lot of the shows. So we're watching everything all the way through up until the Skeleton Crew before the Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out. Yeah. Maybe if they did it several years ago, to make 7 seasons, though they're getting a bit too old now. Well, the de-aging technology is always there. So being able to bring back Hayden and Ewan and make them look younger, that's not really the issue. We saw that in Ahsoka. We've seen that with Luke Skywalker in the Mandoverse. They can do that. They can make them young again. Yeah. Now, if he did a Vader series, that would work because he could be older and it wouldn't really matter much. True. And we'll get to the Vader series in just a second. Yeah. Star Wars should take after Marvel and make a multiverse or what if. Definitely don't do a multiverse. Star Wars needs to stay as far away as possible from a multiverse. A what if series could work, but again, I would rather Disney and Lucasfilm focus on canon stories, their Disney Plus shows and animation, live action, and movies and whatever, anything canon, and then leave it up to the fans to make the what ifs. There's so many great what ifs on YouTube, and I'm not just talking about mine, but there's a bunch of great what ifs on YouTube. Star Wars fans getting to make the what ifs themselves, I think, is a part of being a Star Wars fan, which is great. And I don't think that Lucasfilm needs to worry about making what ifs. With that being said, though, Rebuild the Galaxy Season 2 comes out this fall, which is pretty much a what if version of Star Wars. Yeah. A romance between Obi-Wan and Satine. Yaddle, more Grievous, but those wouldn't involve Anakin and Ewan. Or Hayden and Ewan. The other ones would. I guess Obi-Wan and Satine would, but not Hayden. Okay, let's keep reading them. Having been involved over 20 years, Hayden Christensen has become a critical star for the franchise. His return in Ahsoka was surprising, though it came after cameos in Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. His voice is at the end of Rise, when all the Jedi are asking Rey to rise. And the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, where we get one of the most iconic scenes in Star Wars with Anakin's gone. I am what remains. Okay. While he will reappear in Ahsoka Season 2, Disney has not announced another opportunity for the actor. So, honestly, they haven't really announced much of anything for post-Ahsoka Season 2. For Disney Plus shows, there's nothing. Ahsoka Season 2 is the last thing. So, it could be that they announce some sort of Vader series, or I don't even know. What else would involve Anakin or Vader that could have Hayden come back? A Force Ghost show? Like, there's really no other options. But as of right now, as it stands, on August 12th, 2025, there is no anything after Ahsoka Season 2. Not announced yet, but we'll see. Star Wars desperately needs multiple villains. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Lego is multiverse, right? The Lego is kind of like a what if. Exactly. Yeah, that comes out this fall. Okay, but speaking well on the panel at Fan Expo Boston, for which Screen Rant was in attendance, Hayden Christensen expressed his excitement about the prospect of reprising the role of Anakin Skywalker once more. The decision is not Hayden Christensen's to make, as it will depend on the powers that be, Lucasfilm themselves, but he would gladly appear as Anakin again. This was the quote. 100%. I would love to, yes. If the powers that be decide that that's something that they want to see, I would be there in a heartbeat. So here's the deal. Do we want Anakin to come back and play, or want Hayden to come back and play Anakin or Vader in some other future project? Tell me in the chat. He certainly wants to. I think we would certainly like him to. But the big question is where? What would be another project that Hayden can come back and play Anakin? Tell me in the chat. Ron, what's up? How we doing? She Loves Fantasy brings up a great point. The way that people have acted about Hayden Christensen over the last couple of years makes me wonder what people will say about Daisy Ridley in the future. Honestly, I've had this same exact thought. You look at the love that Hayden and Ewan have now from the Star Wars fandom. That wasn't around 20 years ago. Now, we are not yet 20 years out from the sequel trilogy, but a lot of those actors, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Kelly Marie Tran, a lot of those actors got a lot of crap during the time of the sequel trilogy. What's that going to be like in 12, 15 more years? And before you start going, no, those are completely different, blah, 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 it's the exact same. It's the exact same. So, as much as I love Daisy Ridley already, and I'm sure 20 years ago, if I wasn't 3 years old, I would love Hayden Christensen just as much, I think you're going to see a very similar thing happen. You're going to see people going, damn, we should have got more story with that character. And then maybe we will. But there's a little bit of a difference there because we're going to get more Rey. Hayden almost retired from acting completely because of the backlash from Star Wars. So that's a little bit different, but yeah. Yeah. Well, Kelly Marie Tran is a very similar story to Ahmed Best. Because Ahmed Best plays Jar Jar Binks, and Jar Jar Binks and Rose both got very similar treatment from the Star Wars fandom where people did not like the character. So instead of saying, I don't like a character, which is fully okay, they went completely after the actor and actress of the character, which is completely not okay. And it ended in disaster. And yes, Lucasfilm took their roles, George Lucas at the time for Jar Jar and Lucasfilm at the time for the sequels, took the roles of those characters and pushed them back for better or for worse. But honestly, to protect the actors, because Ahmed Best was getting so much shit online in the media, and same with Kelly Marie Tran. Yeah. In Starfighter, is the fighter pilot, is he a fighter pilot, Ryan Gosling, or is it more of a metaphor? Is he more of a fighter across the board? I don't know. Starfighter, there's really, really not a lot of information there. If he is a fighter pilot, I don't know what for or why. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Because people are dicks. Quote of the day. I'd like to think, and I always say this, but I'd like to think that most people, most of the world, are good people. Kind-hearted, great people looking to do good things and, nice people, usually. I think a very, 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 very small minority of the population is actually evil or purposely mean to hurt people's feelings. Like, I really think those people are just the ones yelling louder than everybody else. Because if you're nice, if you're just a good old person, you're not going to be screaming and yelling about one thing or another. Unless you're me, because I think I'm kind of nice, and I feel like I'm yelling all the time. But I feel like the majority of these haters, for lack of a better word, it's a very small amount of people. A very, very small amount of people. There's a difference between a critic and a hater. Because to criticize something is one thing. To just absolutely bash on somebody and go after an actor personally for no reason at all. There's a big difference there. A very big difference. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But as Hayden Christensen says, he's 100% in, and if the powers that be, Lucasfilm, decide that they want to see something with Anakin Skywalker again, he would be there in a heartbeat. So my question to you, Chet, is what is that? What is that? The only possibility that I see would be a Darth Vader series. Now, I don't really know what that would look like. Would you just retell the stories of the Vader comics? Because those stories are great. But then we enter the same conversation of, is that just recreating a story that already exists? Now, comics and animation are very different. A lot more people watch the Clone Wars series than read Star Wars comics. But even still, it's just a recreation of a story that already exists. So that's sort of up for your own interpretation, I guess. So with that being said, where do you want to see Hayden Christensen return after Ahsoka Season 2 to Star Wars? Would it be a Vader show? Would it be some other place? A Force Ghost Anakin again? Where would that be? Where would we see him? What do we think? because Hayden Christensen has said he wants more Vader. Take a look at this. Yes. Take a look at this. What? Where the hell is this quote? Ah, there it is. Nope, that's not it either. What happened? Oh, there it is. Found it. Hayden Christensen says he would love to make a Darth Vader series. As he says this. I'd love to get to do some more of the stuff in the Darth Vader timeline. I think there's some good, meaty stuff there to explore still. If the powers that be decide that a Vader spinoff is something that they want to see, I'd be there in a heartbeat, 100%. Very similar. I would love to. It would be amazing to keep exploring these characters in both eras. He's already explored the prequels Anakin. From Attack of the Clones, he's seen the Clone Wars, we've seen Anakin in the Clone Wars, and to Revenge of the Sith. He's Vader now. So we're either going to get to see Anakin in one of two ways. As a Force Ghost, in some sort of Ahsoka Season 2 type thing, or as Darth Vader. So Hayden Christensen is quite on board with a Vader series. But what would that Vader series be about? But that's like every DC and Marvel movie being based on comics. True, but that's a little bit different because these Vader comics are canon to the Star Wars timeline. That's the problem. DC and Marvel comics are not canon to the MCU or canon to the DCU. So those ideas from those comic runs can be taken and altered to make a movie or a show. When it comes to Star Wars, those are canon comics. So when you bring those over to live action or animation, they have to be done the same way. So let me put up another poll in the chat here. Let me put up a poll. Oh my God, wait a second. Let's keep this poll up for a second. Never mind. Hang on. I'm leaving this poll up. Do you want a live action Clone Wars show? Because it's at 50-50 right now. It's at 50-50. So we're not going to put up a poll, but I'll ask you guys. Do you want a Darth Vader show? Yes or no, chat? Do you want a Darth Vader series? Yes or no? Following Hayden Christensen under the mask, whether he's hunting down Obi-Wan, whether he's going to Naboo to Padme, couldn't think of her name, kept thinking Natalie, but that's just Natalie Portman. Padme Amidala's grave. Could it be like the plot of Vader Immortal, the VR game? Could it be the comics and just play off of that? What do we think? What do we think? Darth Vader Origins? Anakin? You mean just the prequel trilogy? Could he get an apprentice named Starkiller? No, I don't think they'll ever do canon version of Starkiller just because he's way too powerful. Way too powerful. There's no way. There's no way. Yeah. That's why the MCU and DCU are not good. They don't follow the comics source material. Well, I got to disagree with you there. The MCU is pretty damn good. Yeah. You watch. They can do it. They'll just have to buff him. Yeah, I mean, or debuff him. They'll have to nerf him. That's the problem, though. I don't want Starkiller to come to canon if they're going to have to make him weaker. I'd rather just not get him at all. And giving Vader an apprentice changes a lot in the timeline. Like, why wasn't this apprentice mentioned? Why hasn't he been seen yet? Because you get a lot of Vader. You get a lot of Vader in the Jedi games. Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order. You get a lot of Vader in Rebels. All of Season 2, he's in there. And he's even in some other seasons, too. You get a lot of Vader in Kenobi. So when would he have this apprentice? He trains the Inquisitors. I think it's a little too late to do Starkiller. That's just my personal opinion. I love Starkiller as a character. The Force Unleashed are like some of my favorite Star Wars games. They're not my top favorites, but they're up there. And I mean, Sam Witwer is the GOAT. So his performance as those characters is awesome. But it's not a character I want to see come to live action. I just don't want it. Yeah. I've already given my title, Darth Vader Jedi Hunt. Well, what's cool about the Vader comics is you actually see him hunt down a bunch of Jedi who survived Order 66. So if we were to get that put into live action with Hayden Christensen as Vader, that would be awesome. It would be so cool. Honestly, as somebody who's read a good amount of those Vader comics, I wouldn't mind. It's almost the opposite of the Clone Wars effect for me. I would hate it if they made a live-action Clone Wars show or movie or anything. But I would love it if they made a live-action version of the Vader comics. Him hunting down Jedi post-Order 66 would be so cool. And getting the Vader immortal side of it, and it's also in the comics, but more so, would be the Padme of it all. Because in Kenobi, Padme is not mentioned once, and she's such a huge deal as to why Anakin falls to the dark side. Her death is so meaningful, and for years after he becomes Vader, he's still trying to revive Padme. He's still trying to bring her back from the dead. So getting to see that aspect in live action, bring back Natalie Portman, bring back Hayden Christensen, bring them all back, and give us a live action Vader show where he hunts down Jedi. He's dealing with the fact that his wife is dead, but that's the whole reason he turned to the dark side in the first place, was to save her. Oh, it would be so awesome. It would be so awesome. Better Call Darth.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah. No. It would be awesome. With Disney and Lucasfilm seemingly moving away from Disney Plus shows, it seems like Hayden is talking to get people hyped up at the convention for more of anything. Maybe. I mean, yes, they're definitely stepping back from Disney Plus. There's no denying that. There was only one Disney Plus show this year. There's only going to be one Disney Plus show next year. Live action, that is. Because from the years prior, we've had 2 or even 3 every single year. So yeah, they've taken a step back from Disney Plus, but that's for a good reason. Next year, we're going back to the big screen. Star Wars is going back to its home on the biggest screen possible. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie filmed for IMAX. And we have a ton of Star Wars movies on the way. Starfighter, Rey movie, Kimberg trilogy, Dawn of the Jedi, Lando, a bajillion movies. So they're going to have pretty much a movie every single year. So they're stepping back on Disney Plus because they're stepping back into the theaters. There'll still be Disney Plus live action shows like Ahsoka season 2 and hopefully a Vader series and maybe a season 2 to many other live action stuff. But they're not going to give us 2 or 3 live action shows a year because we're getting the movie along with it. Yeah. 2026, 27, and 28 are going to be very exciting. Yeah. I mean, when you look at the board coming up, 2026 is insanity. For me specifically, my 3 favorite characters being Anakin, Ahsoka, and Maul. All 3 of them are getting the highlights of next year. Maul series, Ahsoka season 2 with Anakin, and Mandalorian and Grogu movie. That's going to be an insane year. 2027 is the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. You're getting A New Hope being re-released into the theaters. You're getting Starfighter. You're getting the Star Wars celebration of the 50th anniversary. It's going to be a wild, wild couple years in the future. Right now, we're just in this lull spot where this is where all the news comes out. Yeah, no? Lando isn't going to be made. Solo lost money. Well, the reason I think Lando will be made is because they're reworking it into a show. Right? I believe the last we heard it was being reworked into a show, which is where it should be, honestly. And if Disney Plus existed, I'm sure Solo would have been a show too. Yeah. Can I get some good cups follow orders in the chat, please? bum, bum. Hope they bring back Clark. Yeah, Amelia Clark. If they do a Lando series, you gotta have the Crimson Dawn be involved, and that would be great to see Amelia Clark come back as Kira. She could also come back as Kira in animation in the Maul series too. So, yeah. Why go to the movies when everybody can see it in a month online? Because it's actually a great question. Because unless you have a movie theater screen at your house, there is nothing better than going to see Star Wars, for that matter, but anything, honestly, on the biggest screen possible. Biggest screen and sound-wise. I went and saw Fantastic Four in IMAX a couple weeks back. Visually, of course, it was amazing. But audio-wise, like, I couldn't hear my friend sitting next to me, which is how it should be. Because he's annoying. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But that's how it should be. I shouldn't even be able to hear myself think. It's in watching Star Wars on that, where it's like, and I can't even hear myself think. That's how it should be. You should hear a lightsaber ignite and think that your head just got chopped off because it feels like it's right in front of you. There's nothing like it. It should be seen in theaters. Yes, it will go to Disney Plus in a couple months after, but that's besides the point. The fact that I wasn't alive to watch the original trilogy, or I was alive, but I wasn't old enough to see the prequels in the theaters either. I love the re-releases. I watched Revenge of the Sith this year, 20th anniversary. I watched Phantom Menace last year. I watched Return of the Jedi the year before, because that's the first time I've ever seen those movies on the big screen. And it's so much better on the big screen. Yeah. I agree, Mike, but they're pushing them out too soon. I do agree with that. I feel like a movie is only in movie theaters for like 10 seconds. You know? Like 10 whole seconds, and then it gets put onto a streaming service. Yeah. We don't have an IMAX here. That sucks. Yeah, my IMAX is kind of far away, but it's worth the drive. Yeah. Yeah. Want to see Mando in IMAX? Can't wait. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can turn up the volume at home? Yes. True. But visually, it's not the same. And my sound system is not nearly as good as a movie theater's. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't know how we got that sidetracked, but going back to Vader in a Darth Vader series. So Hayden's on board. I'm on board. It seems like the majority of the chat is on board. So Lucasfilm, if you're watching, let's make this happen. A Darth Vader series? Let's make this happen. Okay. Now there's another. Yeah, that's the thing that we already talked about. There was another. Ewan McGregor said something about that, but let's go to that first. So before we switch over to the Gina Carano stuff that happened late last week, let's finish off with Ewan McGregor here. So, Ewan McGregor confirms something that Star Wars fans have heard rumors of for now, 26 years. Crazy. Okay. Star Wars fans' suspicions about the Phantom Menace are confirmed after 26 years. The Phantom Menace star, Ewan McGregor, confirms fans' suspicion about the film's classic lightsaber duel, the Duel of the Fates. During an appearance at Fan Expo Boston, the actor reflected on its experience making the Phantom Menace and shedded light on some of the technical filmmaking aspects behind the sequence. Ewan McGregor and Darth Maul's actor Ray Park were performing the fight choreography so quickly that George Lucas feared audiences wouldn't buy it as believable. Imagine that. This is the first real big lightsaber duel since Luke versus Vader in Return of the Jedi. So to go from that, which is a great duel, to Duel of the Fates, it's a great duel, but it's a slow one, to the Duel of the Fates, which is this insanely fast lightsaber epic. Still to this day, some people's favorite lightsaber duel of all time, but definitely up there as one of the best lightsaber duels of all time. They were going so fast that George Lucas was concerned that people wouldn't even believe it's real. That's insane. Since Lucas was shooting The Phantom Menace on film, he employed a trick to slow things down. This is insane. When me and Ray, this is what Ewan McGregor had to say. When me and Ray did that fight, George, I've got to get this right, overcranked. He said, we were shooting on film, and you can adjust the speed of that film going through the camera. So while they filmed this fight scene, they overcranked. If you want it to go in slow motion, you make the camera run really fast when you play it back. It's in slow motion. I remember hearing him say, they're going too fast. Slightly overcrank the camera. So they overcranked the camera and made it slightly slower because me and Ray were so fast doing the fight. He was worried that people wouldn't believe it. So when you watch The Phantom Menace next time, look at that fight and remember, it's purposefully slowed down because they were going too fast. That's insane. Set to John Williams' instantly iconic Duel of the Fates, the climactic lightsaber duel between Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi is widely considered to be one of the one of the film's highlights and best duels in Star Wars franchise history, as it is really the first real taste audiences had of the Jedi and Sith fighting in their primes. Choreography was unlike anything we've ever seen in the original trilogy, demonstrating the tremendous skill set of these warriors. So the reason and explanation that in universe is that the Jedi and the Sith are at their peak, or this is the peak at that we've seen them before. So Darth Maul has been trained his whole life to be this warrior, and these Jedi have been training their whole lives to be Jedi. So that's why these lightsaber duels are so much faster than the original trilogy, which makes sense because in reality, it's because they couldn't make a faster lightsaber duel all those years ago, and now they can. But in world, it actually does make sense because Luke Skywalker is just a farm kid. He doesn't have any abilities with the lightsaber, and he's fighting a cybernetic machine who can't really move around that great, Darth Vader. So although Vader's very powerful, although Luke Skywalker learns to be a lot better with that lightsaber, we don't get to see them move around as quickly and as swiftly as you do the Jedi at their peak. However, you fast forward to Luke Skywalker at the end of The Mandalorian Season 2, and he's moving around like these Jedi were all the way back in the prime of the Jedi because he's a lot more trained. He's a Jedi Master now. So that's why he's a lot quicker in The Mandalorian too. So it all does make sense. It's just an explanation that almost just worked coincidentally. But you add the Duel of the Fates to that, and it's just masterpiece. While the Phantom Menace duel is highly regarded amongst fans, Liam Neeson didn't quite like that Qui-Gon Jinn was easily defeated. This happened, a recent interview. This, I think, was last week. The actor, we watched it too on the live stream, but the actor cracked that Qui-Gon was hardly a Jedi Master for meeting his ultimate end after falling for one of Maul's tricks. Despite that sentiment, Liam Neeson said that it was great. He had a great time overall making the film. So we talked about this last week, but Liam Neeson doesn't think that Qui-Gon's death was deserved. He gets hit in the chin and then stabbed in the stomach, like, oh, I'm going to go for you up here. No, I'm not. I'm going down there. But, I mean, it's still one of the best lightsaber duels ever. This bit of insight, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that was from, So, that's pretty damn cool. And it goes on to talk about the original trilogy, lightsaber duels and stuff. So fan suspicion after 26 years for the Phantom Menace has been confirmed by Ewan McGregor himself. Too fast, slow it down. Over crank. I've actually never heard of that. When you're filming on film, if you over crank, you can slow something down. That's pretty wild. That's pretty dang wild. Okay. All right, let me end this poll. Wow, the yeses have run away with this poll. It was 50-50 not that long ago. But 56% of you say yes, you do want a live-action Clone Wars show. I still disagree with you, but we'll see if it ever actually happens. Okay, let's put up a new poll. Do you think Gina Carano will return to Star Wars? Yes or no? So this happened late last week. Of course, we would have talked about it on Saturday's live stream if we had one, but we got to talk about it now. This was absolutely insane. I made a full-on video on the channel about it. If you have not watched that, go check it out. But this was wild. I did not think I was going to spend my Thursday night into Friday, making a video about this. In a million years, I would have never guessed that Gina Carano would ever come back to Star Wars after the whole debacle that happened. And yet, here we are talking about it. I mean, let's get down to this. So, if you've been living under a rock, then you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But this happened last week, late last week. Okay? Hang on. Scrolling. Wait, what? Where is this? Oh, okay. Never mind. Hang on, Chad. Gina Carano and Disney reached an agreement. So Gina Carano was suing, before we read this, Gina Carano was suing Lucasfilm. So around 5 years ago, give or take, Cara Dune disappeared. Cara Dune was a main character for the most part of at least Mando Season 2. She was going to get her own spin-off series called Rangers of the New Republic that was announced in late 2020. And that sort of just disappeared along with Gina Carano. Cara Dune is not in The Mandalorian Season 3, and the character hasn't been seen since the Season 2 finale, all the way back in 2020. For 5 years, we haven't seen the character of Cara Dune, who was set up to have her own show and be a main character moving forward. She was fired. Now, this lawsuit has been going on for a couple of years now, and we thought it would be to no avail. We thought there would be no end to this lawsuit. However, this happened late last week. This is a statement from Disney themselves. The Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm are pleased to announce that we have reached an agreement with Gina Carano to resolve the issues of her pending lawsuit against the companies. Ms. Carano was always well respected by her directors, co-stars, and staff, and she worked hard to perfect her craft while treating her colleagues with kindness and respect. With the lawsuit concluded, we look forward to identifying opportunities to work together with Ms. Carano in the near future. So this, to me, is very different than them just saying, we've settled this. Like, this is done. We settled it. It's okay now. Like, each party got what they wanted. Like, whatever. That's different than saying, this has been put to bed. Gina Carano was a great person to work with. The directors loved her. Co-stars loved her. Staff loved her. She worked really hard. And now that this is over, we look to work with her again. Not just at some point. In the near future. The near future. So all that to say, I think she's coming back. I see people in the chat saying dive into why she got fired. No. There's a good reason as to why when it happened we didn't talk about it on this channel, and now we still don't talk about it on this channel. As I'm sure you guys have noticed, we never talk politics on this channel for good reason. You want to know why? Because Star Wars is supposed to be an escape from all of that. This channel is supposed to be an escape from all that. The real world. You're talking Star Wars because Star Wars is that escape. It's a galaxy far, far away. The reason we don't talk about this, that, and the other, the reason we never talk about current events and all this craziness, is because that's exactly the opposite of why people are here. That's not the reason for things happening. I'm talking Cara Dune as a character possibly coming back in The Mandalorian, a show that happens in the galaxy far, far away, disconnected from our reality, and a character that's disconnected from our reality in the galaxy far, far away. So, as much as I'm sure you guys have very strong opinions on one way or another, and I'm sure I do too off screen, that's not why we're here. So that's sort of not why we talk about it, you know? It's not that I don't want to talk about it or couldn't talk about it for hours on end. That's just besides the point of why we're here, you know? If I wanted to make a political podcast or, I don't know, a current events podcast, I would. But when you look behind me, it's a shit ton of stuff from a galaxy far, far away. The escapism that I've had my entire life from the real world, from the problems and troubles of your everyday life. So for me, I'm talking about Cara Dune as a character returning. Gina Carano as an actress giving me the performance of a character in the galaxy far, far away. Does that make sense? Is that too crazy, chat? Is that, I mean, to me, that makes sense. I don't want to dive into anything here. Star Wars is politics. Yes, you're absolutely right. I'll talk Star Wars politics all day long. If you want to talk Star Wars politics, you want to talk Trade Federation, you want to talk about separatists versus Republic, I'll talk that for hours. However long you want. Yeah, until I make the channel called A Guy Who Loves Political Science. Yeah. There you go. So with that being said, I bring up the report again. This is not Walt Disney in Lucasfilm saying that they've settled this lawsuit and, you know, whatever. This is them saying they want to work with her in the near future. So with that being said, do you think that Cara Dune will return in the Mandoverse? Let's look back at what happened to the character. In season 3 of The Mandalorian, which she was not in, they did explain where her character went. Because in season 2, she's getting this badge from the New Republic. She's becoming a ranger of the New Republic, which she was supposed to get her own show off of. But she disappears. And it's explained in season 3 of The Mandalorian that she has joined this secret special officer, special forces, what it was called, special forces for the Republic, the Rangers of the New Republic. But we don't get to see her. She's not on Navarro anymore. She has just gone off to join these special forces. I don't know about you guys. Special forces sound like they'd be pretty damn helpful if you're going to go face to face with Grand Admiral Thrawn, Night Sisters, the Remnant of the Empire. A special forces group might be a little bit of help with all that. So if we were to see Cara Dune come back, she could be the cavalry. She could be the backup for these bounty hunters. I mean, for these ragtag group of heroes. For your Din Djarins, your Cobb Vanths, your Bo-Katans, your Boba Fett's, your Fennec Shans, all these people who were once either bounty hunters or smugglers or bad people, they're coming together to take down Thrawn. They might not be enough. They're going to need the New Republic's help. And a special forces from the New Republic, led by Cara Dune, and hopefully maybe even the Ghost crew with Harris and Dula and Ezra and all these others. That might be the help they need to defeat Grand Admiral Thrawn. So if, in fact, we are going to get Cara Dune back, Gina Carano's seemingly worked things out with Disney, then it could be the case that she could come back for this Mandoverse, this Heir to the Empire event. Now, she won't be in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie because that finished filming a long time ago. They could do, somebody brought up the fact that they could do reshoots, and those reshoots could involve Cara, maybe, like if they were to set up a post-credit scene or something with the character. Not too sure. But Ahsoka Season 2 seems like it's out the window too because it's filming right now and it's going to end filming soon. But whatever is after that, maybe Dave Filoni's movie or maybe something else, possibly. Could we see Cara Dune return? Tell me what you think. I might be imagining this, but didn't we... Wait, what? I might be imagining this, but didn't they say they were going to give us a Rangers of the New Republic show? Or didn't they say they were going to give the Rangers of the New Republic show a new name and a new leading character? I don't remember that. No. I do not remember that. She could be like Lando at the end of Rise of Skywalker, arriving with a fleet of ships, save the day. Could be. Could be. Disney's got 99 problems, but Gina won't be one. True. Yeah. That problem has been resolved. Yeah. They won't have her back. They are just talking to please people for the time being until it's all forgotten about. But I would argue, Jesse, that people had already forgotten. Like, I had no imagination. I'll take that back. I could not have possibly imagined Gina Carano ever returning to Star Wars last week. However, now, just a week later, this sounds like she's coming back. There was a rumor that Carson Teva would be the lead. Well, Carson Teva has seemingly taken over the role of Cara Dune in The Mandalorian Season 2, in Ahsoka, in the Book of Boba Fett. Was he in the Book of Boba Fett? Maybe. But it seems like he is the new Ranger that's connected to all the other projects. Yeah. So Carson Teva, I think, sort of took the role of what Gina Carano's, or Cara Dune, Gina Carano's character, was playing or was going to play in the future. But they didn't rework the show. Honestly, the Book of Boba Fett is the outcome of the firing of Gina Carano. And there's kind of no denying that. When you look at the Book of Boba Fett, although I do like it more than most, it does have those 2 episodes that are Mando episodes. Boba's not even in them. And it does only have 7 episodes. So when you just look at the facts, which is purely that was clearly thrown together pretty quickly. Maybe they did want to tell a Boba Fett story, but maybe also in The Mandalorian. I'm not too sure. But it was only 7 episodes. They threw in 2 more episodes to make them Mando episodes, but it would have only been 5 episodes. And it feels like, and it looks like, and it smells like the Book of Boba Fett was really the replacement for Rangers of the New Republic. It worked. I think it worked. I don't know what Rangers would have been, but it clearly looks to be that way. Yeah. I 200% doubt that Disney will ever be calling her again, though. I don't know. My thing is they could have completely phrased this differently. They didn't have to say that they're identifying opportunities to work together with her in the future, in the near future. They didn't have to say any of that. This statement could have easily been, Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm are pleased to announce that we've reached an agreement with Gina Carano to resolve the issues of her pending lawsuit against the companies. Boom. Done. But they went on to hype up Gina Carano by saying that she was well respected by her directors, co-stars, staff. She worked very hard to perfect her craft while treating her colleagues with kindness and respect. They could have even ended it there. But no, they continue. With this lawsuit concluded, we look forward to identifying opportunities to work together with Miss Carano. Could have stopped it there. But no, they continue in the near future. The near future. Only Jon Favreau will fight to bring her back. So if he isn't in charge of any of the projects, it's highly unlikely. I did see a lot of that stuff because when you look at the behind the scenes of the early seasons of The Mandalorian, Jon Favreau has this very strong connection with Gina Carano. The two of them work very well together. So I mean, you would assume that Dave Filoni also does too because they were both working on those projects together, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Jon Favreau is the Mando guy. If they're doing more Mandoverse movies, he'll be involved. They're just being nice. They don't have to be nice. They don't have to do all this. You know? Disney's wording could be a part of the settlement. Now, that could be the case. That could definitely be the case. Yeah. Yeah, then people start asking questions if she'll be coming back, and they will have to answer, or they'll throw the statement in that avoids further questions. Well, this doesn't avoid further questions at all. This begs way more questions. This makes me think that she is coming back. If they phrased this any differently, I'd be like, oh, the lawsuit's done. Never in the last 4.5 years or whatever it's been have I imagined Cara Dune returning. Once she wasn't even present in The Mandalorian Season 3, I was like, okay, that character's gone. Like, gone. They kept her alive with that whole Special Forces thing, but she's gone. This is the only thing that's given me hope that she would ever possibly return. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that it would be a very, very, very mixed bag if she were to come back. But I don't know. Star Wars Santa says, I think the best chance to see Cara Dune would be in Ahsoka Season 2. Something in the Thrawn arc. Probably not likely, though. Maybe Dave's movie in a few years. I don't see anything else in the near future. Yeah, it can't be the Mandalorian and Grogu movie because that's already done. Pretty much done. And Ahsoka Season 2 is filming right now, so it'd have to be sort of thrown in there already, which it's not. So it's got to be either Dave Filoni's movie or another Mando project that we don't even know about yet. Imagine they re-announced Rangers of the New Republic. That would be insane. That would be insane. By the way, this poll right now, 57% of you guys say yes, you think Gina Carano will return to Star Wars. So we're pretty much close to 50-50. 57-43. That's pretty close. But a mixed bag. I am just leaning more towards the yes, she will be coming back just because of this statement. If even these last 4 words weren't there in the near future, I'd probably be thinking that she wouldn't come back even still. But just this last line, there's no reason for them to have said that unless they're actually in talks to bring the character back. Because she was a main character. You go back and watch The Mandalorian Season 2, she's in... Hang on, let's go check. Let's go check it, chat. Well, of course, she's in Mando Season 1, but she's not really a main character, I'd say, in Season 1. Let's see. So if we come to Disney Plus, go to Season 1. So her introduction is in Episode 4, and she doesn't come back until the last couple episodes. So she's in 3 of the 8. But then, fast forward to season 2, she becomes a fan favorite character, and they want a lot more of her. She's not in episode 1. Episode 2 is The Passenger. She's not in that one either. It's not until, I think, episode 12, or maybe she's in 11 too. She's at the end of 11. But either way, she's in 12. She's in 14, 15, and 16. So she's in 5 of the 8, maybe 4 of the 8. So at least 50% of the episodes. And she is a main character in these last 3, set up to get her own show as a Ranger of the New Republic. And it all goes away. WWGLD, what would George Lucas do? I don't know. I don't know what George Lucas would do here, honestly. I have no idea. When will they make a series or a movie on Mace Windu's return? We need to know if he survived Order 66. I mean, I'd be fully down for a Mace Windu return, but it's become harder and harder over the years because you filled out the timeline so much and Mace isn't involved. But yeah. I'm glad that they picked a new guy to play Baylan Skoll in Ahsoka Season 2. Yeah, me too. Yeah. I rewatched episode 16 today. Yeah, I mean, this finale of Season 2, it's so good. It's so good. You know, after Disney got rid of her, the ratings for Disney went down. Well, I mean, yes, but I don't know if that's actually because of this means that type deal. I don't think it's because Cara Dune got fired, the ratings for Disney went down. I think season 2 of Mando was just that good that it was hard to top that, you know. Oh, DJ says, hey, dude, great to see you live. We got a live chat sometime. Absolutely. May the force be with you from New Zealand. That's awesome. New Zealand. Absolutely. Where's everybody tuning in from today? Oh, hang on, chat. I got some good / bad news. Bad news is, again this week, there will be no live stream on Saturday. Saturday, no live stream. I'm going to one of my best friend's weddings, and it's going to be awesome. But it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so I will not be here again for Saturday's live stream. Okay? So that's, I guess, the bad news / good news. In other news, it is his birthday today. Can we get some happy birthdays to Kyle in the chat, please? Can we get some happy birthdays to Kyle? Big old 23 today. He's old as hell, but it's his birthday today. He's getting married this weekend. Can we get some happy birthdays to Kyle in the chat? See, that's what I like to see, chat. That's what I like to see. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Sweltering heat over here in Michigan. Nice. Yeah, it's really hot here too, actually. This is crazy. Okay. Well, I appreciate that, guys. He'll love that. He will love it. Yeah. You know the cool fun fact about Kyle, Star Wars wise, I guess, is one of his favorite characters is Jar Jar Binks. So Jar Jar Binks. I saw The Phantom Menace on the big screen for the first time ever last year. Was it last year? Whatever it was. 2 years ago. With Kyle. And we died laughing the whole time, anytime that Jar Jar Binks said anything. It was great. Yes, Darth Jar Jar. Darth Jar Jar. Yeah. Cara Dune was so unpopular that she had the longest lines at cons too. I don't know if that's sarcasm or I don't know what that. Oh, yeah, sure. It's actually 87 degrees here in the UK, which is far above normal. 87 sounds fantastic. I don't know how hot it is today here, but it's at least in the 90s. At least in the 90s. Yeah. Boom! I don't know why you just said boom. Oh, you won? Oh my God, won 30,000 credits? That's insane. That's insane. You guys are winning too much on the gambling. We're going to have to shut it off. Oh, never mind. ZZ just lost. Okay, we got way too off track. Way too distracted here, chat. Let's get back on topic here. So let's end this poll. Oh my God, 60% of you guys. So 60-40, 60% of you guys say, or almost 60-40, 60% of you guys say yes, you do think that Gina Carano will return to Star Wars. That's crazy. As much as I agree with you, I think she will return just solely based off of this response from Lucasfilm and Disney. This working with her in the near future, I think she's coming back. They set her up in The Mandalorian Season 3 to join the Special Forces. That Special Forces could be pretty helpful against the Big Blue Meanie. So that'll be great too. But only time will tell. Only time will tell. Yeah. But with that being said, let's switch gears here a little bit. This news just crossed my desk this morning. It was brought in by a messenger. His name was Bib Fortuna. And he said, sir, check this out. So reviving this forgotten Star Wars series could save Disney Plus. Disney shelved Star Wars' Detours in 2013, but bringing this comedy show back might save Disney Plus from itself. Take a look at this, okay? This is... I really don't know how to take this, so I'm going to just give it to you guys. In 2024, there were unconfirmed reports that only one Star Wars show would premiere on Disney Plus per year, and that seemingly looks like how it's going to be. Down from the usual 2 to 5 series. Well, actually, I take that back. This is one live action Disney Plus show, Star Wars Disney Plus show, because we're still going to get the Maul series, multiple seasons, and so on, in the Tales stuff too. This seems to be another sign that the brand of the famous galaxy far, far away is failing. I disagree because we're moving over to the big screen, but that's besides the point. Especially because there have been no new Star Wars films since the critically reviled Rise of Skywalker. However, reviving the forgotten series could save Disney Plus. That series is Star Wars Detours. Now tell me in the chat, give me a 1 if you've heard of this series. Give me a 1 if you've heard of this series. Oh, wow. I'm actually surprised. I had heard of this by name, didn't really know what it was, but a lot of you guys actually do know what it is. A couple people don't. Okay. That's fine. So, Star Wars Detours, a non-canonical parody show that franchise creator George Lucas and Robot Chicken creator Seth Green were once developing. So, not canon, a parody show of Star Wars. Now, we've seen parodies of Star Wars before. Of course, Spaceballs. We're getting to Spaceballs 2 very soon. But this was being developed by George Lucas himself to parody Star Wars. So, Detours was designed as a comedy show that would portray various events that happened between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. Disney killed the project after it acquired the rights to Star Wars from Lucasfilm back in 2012. It says 2013, but it was 2012. But it was surprisingly far in development. The creative team had produced 39 episodes and developed scripts for 62 more. As for why Disney refused to release dozens of already completed episodes, the only official reason was that they didn't make sense to release such a show when it was the beginning of production for a new trilogy of Star Wars films. So now, this could be back. Reading between the lines, it seems that Disney was worried that the comedic take on the franchise might alienate new fans. Additionally, even though the show was designed as a non-canonical parody, it actually has its own D-canon or Detours canon designed before being shelved. The House of Mouse may have thought that Lucas utilized certain characters or events it wanted to develop, such as Mara Jade. There's been a lot of talk about Mara Jade lately, Chet. A lot of talk. We're talking about her being reportedly getting her own show. Her lightsaber is now at Disney's parks right now. She's been in talks to be coming into the Mandoverse. A lot of talk about Mara Jade in recent months. But now that Disney has alienated its fans, Jesus Christ, it may be the perfect time to bring the series back on Disney+. One reason for this is that Star Wars has needed a comedy show for a long time. I disagree with that statement right there. You've had comedic characters in Star Wars, even Clone Wars arcs that are more comedic, some droid arcs and stuff like that. But I don't think Star Wars needs its own comedy parody show. But hang on. Fans have mined both the prequels and the sequels for funny memes. But attempts at comedy in official movies and shows are often sorely lacking. They don't need that. Let's keep going. From Jar Jar Binks, which, Jar Jar Binks, gotta love him, stepping in poop and getting farted on to Poe Dameron, cracking yo mama jokes, Star Wars has always been at its worst whenever it's actually attempting at humor. Kind of hard to argue about that. Detours could change that thanks to its high comedic pedigree. I don't know about that. The Floaters star Seth Green was once an executive producer, and while humor is quite subjective, his Star Wars sketches on Robot Chicken have always been hilarious. Now tell me in the chat, have you seen the Robot Chicken Star Wars stuff? I mean, they are very, very funny. Imagine a George Lucas and Seth Green produced Star Wars comedy. I mean, the Legos are funny. The Legos are funny. True. That's true. Okay. There have been leaked 6-minute episodes, Dog Day Afternoon, possibly intended to be a short pilot to the show, featuring voice acting from Conan O'Brien's sidekick Andy Richter, sure, Andy, and musical parody legend Weird Al Yankovic. So they're not throwing around little names here. Weird Al, I mean, come on. In fact, Weird Al actually helped create multiple original songs for the show, and Detour was planned to feature a musical episode in its 3rd season. We're not talking about an idea here. We're talking about a fully fledged multi-season show that already had episodes developed, or finished actually, and others in development, 62 episodes scripted. Like, this was a big project that George Lucas had been working on for years. Additionally, a rival sci-fi franchise accidentally proved why Detours would likely be a hit for the fandom. Even though Star Trek has always been been a mostly serious franchise, with occasional Q or holodeck episode notwithstanding. The animated show Lower Decks, I've not seen that, but Lower Decks has designed explicitly as a was designed explicitly as a comedic show or comedy show. Has anybody seen Lower Decks? I've never even heard of it. Chet? Never even heard of it. I don't know. But again, humor is subjective. That's for sure. But many Trek fans consider this to be the best franchise show Paramount has released in years. It replaced the plotting pacing of shows of like Discovery and Picard with breezy episodes that aren't afraid to poke fun at the franchise. So I'm not a Star Trek fan, so I don't know if any of this is true or not. But I mean, I don't know. Star Trek is what it is. That is ultimately how Detours would win the Star Wars fandom, which mostly just want an Andor Season 3. I disagree with that. But by showing that Disney doesn't take the galaxy full of hippie space wizards, okay, asthmatic robot men, Vader, nice, and repetitive super weapons seriously. And it shouldn't, because all of it is good, silly fun. I agree with this to an extent. I think having comedic aspects to Star Wars is what makes it Star Wars. You've always had your Han Solo type of comedy, dry-ish humor, and of course, moving on to more of a Jar Jar Binks type of humor. Even in the Clone Wars, you have aspects of that too. I don't know if a full-on comedy show, a parody show of Star Wars, is the right thing to do. However, tell me in the chat, do you think, or do you want this to, actually we'll put up a poll. Let's put up a poll. Let's put up a poll. Do you want Star Wars Detours to be brought back, I guess? Yeah, sure. To return. It never was there. And it never was to be finished. Created? Let's go with created. Yes or no? Do you want Star Detours to be created? Yes or no? Yes or no? Releasing a comedy to show that it is on the joke could help Disney win back fans it lost. Kind of disagree with that. But the fact is that it can release 39 episodes without spending any money. And that's just the icing on top of the cake. Of course, blue milk made the icing. Much like Obi-Wan Kenobi was to Leia, Detours may be the only hope for Disney Plus. Especially considered that Ahsoka Season 2 is the only show currently in development. That's true. If the House of Mouse continues fumbling this iconic brand and it doesn't release something genuinely fun, it may face the one thing that's even more scarier than Darth Vader. Complete audience apathy, which honestly, we're nowhere close to that. However, what do we think? Detours. 39 episodes already completely done. 62 scripts already completely done. George Lucas, Seth Green, Weird Al Yankovic. Honestly, I don't know. If you play it off as like a Rebuild the Galaxy type thing, then maybe. I don't know. What do you think, Chet? I've watched the old droid cartoon series from the late 80s. Detours can't hurt. It's just some additional content for people who want to watch it. True. I guess it doesn't hurt to give more of a comedic outlook. Detours is a dumb name. Well, I think that's sort of the idea. It's supposed to be dumb. Is there an I don't care button? I guess. Weird Al Yankovic is a K. Wait, has a K, not a CH? What? Weird Al Yankovic has a K, not an H. What are you talking about? Weird Al Yankovic. What? What? I'm confused. I don't know what that means. Detours sounds like an intro to a college course. Okay. Bar Wars? That'd be pretty good. I like that. Well, let's just ask the question, I guess, more simply. Do you want a comedic Star Wars show in general? Doesn't have to be this George Lucas created Star Tours thing or Detours thing. Keep calling it Star Tours from Disney. But what do we think? By the way, this poll right now currently is 52% say no, 48% say yes. We've had some pretty 50-50 polls today, chat. Pretty down the middle today. Yeah, as long as it's not canon. It will not be canon. Yes. That's sort of the confirmation it won't be canon. Yeah. No, not my cup of tea. Interesting. Lego Star Wars is the perfect for animation comedic Star Wars. That's enough for me. Yeah, I mean, the Lego Star Wars stuff does it very well. The Rebuild the Galaxy stuff, but even the other Lego stuff on Disney Plus right now. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting. Weird Al Yankovic is still alive? Yes, he's still alive. That's crazy. I think they should focus on perfecting their live action shows and take time to get them right. That too. Of course, you don't want to waste time doing this comedic show for no reason when you should be making other shows. I already said this, but Family Guy's spoof Blue Harvest was hilarious. Yeah, they've already done spoofs on those shows. Family Guy, Simpsons, stuff like that. True. Well, that is all very interesting. I'm going to end this poll. Wow, bumped up to 55. 55 to 45%. 55% of you saying no, you don't want this to be created. And 45 saying yes, you do. Well, I guess only time will tell. If they revitalize this, that'd be pretty cool. We shall see. But a Darth Vader series could be on its way if Hayden Christensen has his way, if the fans have their way. Ewan McGregor wants to come back and swing lightsabers with Hayden. Who doesn't want to see that? Hopefully getting to see him in Ahsoka Season 2. Maybe in a flashback explaining the Mortis gods, which would be great. Gina Carano settles her dispute or settles her lawsuit with Disney. Will we see Cara Dune back again? It's really a wild time to be a Star Wars fan right now. There's no show coming out currently, but it really is a wild time to be a Star Wars fan. It's really crazy. It really is. But I do have to get on out of here. I really got to go pee. But also, I got to go finish my short for today. Yes, we do have no live stream this Saturday, but there's still a live stream on Thursday. So I'll see you guys on Thursday. Talk more, of course, about Star Wars. And, tomorrow night, be on Star Wars Jedi Podcast with Ron, Nick, Derek, all the other guys over there. So go check that out, too. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe, hit that bell so you don't know. Oh, hang on, chat. I got to catch this phone call. So wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. Good night, everybody. Oh, yeah, what a great stream. What a great show. Good night, everybody.